What is up? It's Ken from Flowtricks. I have 3 things to talk about before we start. 1, I hope you can hear the audio a lot better. I just got a brand new mic. As soon as I got the webcam and this new spacing, the audio I felt like was really muffled, so I decided to finally invest in a good microphone. Thank you, Patreon donors. Number 2, Dark Monk giveaway. So for all $8 Patreon donors or more, one random person is going to be selected to win Dark Monk Fire Nunchucks. These things are awesome. I've spun his Fire Nunchucks at shows, and even if you don't spin Fire Nunchucks, it's pretty awesome because the Kevlar is padded ends, so even if you don't spin, having a Fire Nunchuck was still pretty amazing just because of the balance and the fact that the Kevlar actually acts kind of as a cushion. And number 3, speaking of Dark Monk, this is Dark Monk Day. These nunchucks are the new prototypes that I just got. They may look similar to the last ones, but there's things that are happening under the hood. I'm really excited. I think this is almost the final rendition, if not the final. We're going to find out next week when I hear back from Dark Monk as to where we're going to go from here. But very soon, the official Flowtricks nunchuck created by Dark Monk will be created. Boom. Now, let's get started with our lesson. Now, we're really working on stalls today, and the thing about a stall is it's a great way to break up motion. So as we do a stall, not only can you break up motion, you can add extra techniques at the end. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the chuck with our right hand, we're gonna spin it counterclockwise. Now, once it passes 12 o'clock, the moment it crosses 12 o'clock and it starts to move, our hand is gonna move in the general direction of the chuck. So this is like an arrow pointing your hand to go this way. So as I'm spinning it, once it passes 12 o'clock, my hand is gonna follow the tip of this chuck. And as it follows, the chuck is going to start to dive down, but I keep following until it stops. Here's what happens once we pass 12 o'clock, it goes up. Imagine like this chuck on this side is an arrow pointing. You're going to follow it over until it stops. Now there's 2 things you can do with the other side too. One is if you, for aesthetic purposes, you can just typically follow it until it stops, and that creates the stall. But visually, if you have a 90-degree angle, it's usually not something that you want. Usually what you want is more of a straight line like this. So to create the straight line, what's going to happen is our elbow's going to kind of pull out, and it's going to be like almost like a thumb up to a thumb down. So if you see my elbow is tucked in, pulls out, and my thumb goes down. This creates a straight line to the stall, which is kind of more a visual aesthetic as opposed to if it was tucked in this way. It just kind of looks like more of a limpy noodle kind of thing. So as you do your first stall, one thing we can do to make this look fancy is we can even just kind of put our arm, we can slam into it, or we can use our arms or our legs to get it back in motion. So once it stops, we're gonna aim for the bounce point here. Whatever you wanna do, you can kick it, or you can, elbow or slap or whatever. That's one good way to get it in motion. So stall, do something cool. Now, this is the first down stall. There's multiple ways to stall, obviously. We have up stalls and down stalls. So I'm going to show you a couple more. The move that I want to really get into, the meat and potatoes, is this combo right here. But I want you to get comfortable first with the down stall, because this is going to be the easiest. Once you get this down stall, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the up stall, which is the exact opposite. So once we do this motion here, so we're spinning it counterclockwise, passes 12 o'clock, we follow it like an arrow, and we stop. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna lift our hand up in the same way that it came in, and we're gonna pull it. It's almost like now we're leading the chuck to follow us. We're gonna be leading the chuck, so it's here, we're gonna be leading it, and the moment it hits down to 6 o'clock, what we're gonna do is put the most force of the swing between, 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So as we're here, and we're coming down, most of the force is happening like a snapping motion right here. So swing, snap, and then we're gonna just let it drift upwards. It's gonna be the same thing. So snap, and as soon as this starts to come upwards, we're gonna kind of try to match our hand to be in line with the tip of the chuck. So as it's coming upwards, we don't want it to be here, we want it to be directly under the chuck. So here, and as it comes up like this, remember, we're snapping it, and then what you can see is my thumb is actually pointing upwards into the chuck. And eventually what we're going to do is the more snap that we have between this motion and this motion, so in this part of the circle, It's mostly down at the bottom, but you really want to relax the moment it starts to come up from the 6 o'clock. The moment it's up here, you're just going to kind of hold it there for a second. Now, when you do a down stall, you can hold it forever, but as you do an up stall, it only has so much force before it wants to come back down. So one thing you can do, if you want to hold this stall, is simply as you up stall and it's hanging there, just lift your hand and grab the top. So down stall, as you do the up stall, I can just basically move my hand from the bottom to the top. Obviously this allows it because now it's hanging down. So down stall, up stall, grab. Now to get it back in motion, it's as simple as I kind of give it like a little bit of an upward lift so it doesn't move. Not to move it straight up, although you could do that as well. Just enough so I can just grab it without moving it too much and then pulling it down. So it's slight upward lift, or you can do a major upward lift. I usually do a slight one here, and then we're back down. So we have the down stall to the up stall, down stall. And remember, if your stall is nice and straight, it'll go straight up and straight down, straight up, straight down. If it's off like this, you're not giving enough snap to go up. So make sure that you give it a nice snap, and then make sure that your thumb is facing up like, hey. So here, snap and up. And once it starts pointing, if you want to hold on to it, grab it like so, lift it up and down. Let's go ahead and go to the other up stall. The other up stall is over here. The reason why I like this is because you can create two up stalls, and it's almost like a golf swing. So this is a lot easier than you think because you're basically doing the same technique to the other side. All you have to do is figure out the transition point. So everything happens, it's all about snap right there. Snap. It's all about the snap that happens right as it goes to move, change directions and go from going downward to upward. So if you really want to think about it, it's not like a U, it's almost like a V. It's a little more curved at the bottom. It's not a very straight diagonal, but it is like snap. So as we're going up, we're going to slide down, and as soon as we hit the curve, give it a nice snap. Now what's going to happen here is my elbow is going to pull inward while my thumb goes outward. That's going to allow the chuck to go to the outside. Boom. It's very subtle, but it's just kind of like, it's almost like, as you can see, my elbow kind of helps control the direction and the feel of it. We're going to go over one more stall combo here, and it's going to look like this. Boom. Whoosh. I like this one. Once we start integrating hand rolls, stalls get a lot more interesting. So the way this works is we're just doing a down grip stall essentially. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a circle, a half moon circle going clockwise. So we're starting at 6 o'clock with my hand, and as I go up to 12 o'clock, I'm going to do a front to back hand roll. Now once I do the front to back hand roll, you can't really stall up here because there's still motion from the hand roll moving. So you're going to let it move one time. So you're going to give it one beat over, and then you're going to try to dip down. So as it moves over here, once it passes 12 o'clock, and it's going to 6 o'clock, I'm going to try to move my hand to stop it right there. So first, do the hand roll, give it one extra beat, and let it drop. So hand roll, beat, and again, as it's moving over, we're going to move into its general space. We're trying to match our hand with the tip of the chuck, wherever it's at, and it'll eventually stop. From here, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to pull it up. We're going to allow a hand roll to happen. So it's going to be a slight twist, but not too much. And as soon as it happens here, it's going to be just like this type of motion that we did with this, with two up stalls. So we're here in the down grip, we give it a little bit of a roll, and then we give it a spin up. And that will allow for the second stall. So here, stall, hand roll, 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 stall. One more thing I'm going to show, because I think this is pretty awesome. As we do our up stalls, you can also work on stepping with these up stalls. And when we put all these together with hand rolls, you have so many options. So as I step, as I look here, if I turn my body to turn and look straight at this up stall, the moment it up stalls, I can take a step and do the exact same motion on the other side. So this doesn't change too much except for we just add a step to it. We're doing the same motion, but if we take a step, it allows us to turn with it. Doing steps with up stalls will allow us to add some footwork, as well as whenever you feel a hand roll, you can do the down stall, you can do the up stall, step, step, down, oops, I messed that one up. But you guys can see how this goes. There's a lot of different ways to stall. Play with it a lot. It will add so much variety to your nunchuck spinning. Let's do one more too. I really like this one too. So let's do an upstall. We're doing our 2 upstalls. Upstall, upstall. This time, I'm gonna upstall, but it's gonna be slightly diagonal to me. It's not gonna be straight ahead. So if I was standing sideways, you know how I usually have the hand right underneath the chuck, how I said it aligns up perfectly? This one's gonna be kind of diagonal. So I'm swinging up, but it's kind of diagonal towards my face. The reason for that is because it allows me to pull back and create something called a symmetrical crossing. Whoosh, whoosh. And here's how it works. As we do the upstall, instead of being right in front of my face this time, it's diagonally facing away from me. That way when I pull backwards, they won't crash into each other. The next thing I do is I take my pointer finger and I go as high as I can on the rope. So my pointer finger goes up as high, usually about halfway through, right here. And as I pull backwards, and I'm just gonna pull backwards like it's an arrow, what's gonna happen is it's gonna cause the chuck to change positions. The top will be at the bottom will be at the top. So as you pull back, open up your fingers. So we go here, we pull back, and then our fingers open up to grab. So here, there, here, grab, here, grab. So with all that said, we have up stalls, we have hand roll down stalls, hand roll up stalls, we have stepping up stalls, and we also have Simex up stalls. Now there's so much more that you can do with them. I just showed you the basics, but that's where you play and find your own style with these techniques. So I hope this helps. Don't forget, we have the Patreon Fire Nunchuck giveaway happening at the end of the month. And if you have any questions, send me a message. I will talk to y'all soon.